Hi, I'm Alex Cheng, the creator of Grave Trigger, a miniatures game of desperate struggles and violent clashes as you fight for the fate of a mutated world. In this game, you control characters bound to Animus reactors, sentient, parasitic armor that grants them reality-warping power. A standard game is played on a 2x2 foot battlefield, with each team controlling a minimum of 3 characters, known as your vector. Teams can be controlled by 1 or more players sharing a vector, or each fielding their own. Grave Trigger uses a diceless combat system and has no tape measures required. The only tool you'll need to check distances is the reach gauge. Let's start by building your vector. Each character has different weapon options, stats, abilities, and the drive they're allied with. These grant special powers and challenges you can complete to gain rewards for satisfying the monstrous will of the Animus reactor. Choose your characters, collect their cards, and select weapons from their options. Then collect a matching initiative and movement token for each of your characters. Next, build your damage state deck. These cards represent the ways the Animus reactors evolve in response to damage, and will be pivotal to victory. Include a number of damage state cards equal to the number of damage state triggers on your character's cards, and then add 1 ultimate card per character. These will be kept face down and hidden from your opponents. And you're ready to pick a scenario. Each scenario has unique rules for setup, starting initiative, deployment, and victory. In Grave Trigger, your choices matter. Each scenario is divided into multiple acts, and the decisions you make will add modifiers, change the battlefield, and affect the win condition. The game is played in rounds, each with 3 phases: order, action, and end. The order phase goes in reverse initiative order, from right to left. First, place a movement token where you want your character to go, anywhere in their line of sight. If you want to leap upwards, place the token on the edge of the surface visible to your character. If you want to propel to a surface higher than reach 3, your character needs to be within reach 1 of that surface horizontally. Then assign an order for each of your characters, face down, hidden from your opponent. There are 3 types of orders: combat, control, and animus. These determine the style of actions and reactions available to your character. The action phase goes in initiative order, from left to right. Move your character towards their movement token. Then end their movement so their base touches any part of it. Each character has an agility token that can be exhausted to navigate obstacles once during any point of their movement, whether it's redirecting at the beginning or backdashing at the end. Then, reveal your order and execute an action. The combat order lets your characters attack using their weapons or terrain. If you choose to use your character's weapons, pick a target within its reach and line of sight, or pay a cost to enhance your attack with a deadly weapon technique. If you choose to use terrain, you can either strike a nearby opponent for damage, throw it to any point in line of sight to push away characters, or reposition it to give allies cover and cut off opponents. The control order will allow your character to interact with a scenario element, such as an objective, or raise their initiative position on the tracker. The Animus order allows your character to mutate the battlefield, or use a powerful Animus install. If you choose to mutate, you can spawn living terrain, or possess an existing piece, allowing it to move on its own and use a technique from the living terrain weapon card. Mutate terrain to create cover and elevation, let a teammate absorb it for resources, sabotage opponents, and even give your vector a ride. If you choose an install, you can select any one available to your character, allowing the Animus reactor to take control for potent effects. When targeted, your opponents can pay resources and reveal their order to react. Combat lets them block to reduce incoming damage. Control lets them exhaust agility to evade. And Animus allows them to counter with their own attacks. Your action and reaction options can be dramatically expanded depending on how you build your vector. And remember, combat is never random. Tactics, positioning, and resource management are the keys to unleashing the full potential of your attacks, as well as avoiding a killing blow. When you inflict damage, it's marked on the target's damage track. When your character's damage reaches a damage state trigger, you pick any card from your deck to use. These offer explosive single effects or permanent evolutions, adding new actions, upgrades, and abilities. And when your character is critically wounded, pick any ultimate card from your deck to unleash a devastating effect that can completely shift the momentum of the game. Every character has a torque limit, representing how much physical and mental anguish the human host can withstand from combat. Many weapons inflict torque, and have special effects like pull and push, which can reposition your enemies. Collisions with terrain and falling far enough will inflict extra torque. And if you hit your target hard enough that they crash through terrain, it will inflict even more. Torque is also used to pay for reactions, refreshing your agility, and to perform special actions. But be careful. If you've reached your torque limit, you can't execute these essential maneuvers. And if you're damaged out of cover, your character will experience a brutal torque burst, turning all of their torque into extra damage. And when the human host is damaged, the armor fuses with them to keep them in the fight, enabling the host to better withstand the truly reality-warping capabilities of the Animus. This fusion is represented by Animus Points. You gain them by taking damage or willingly inflicting damage to yourself to feed the machine. This limited resource can be used to trigger abilities, recover torque, or pay to create living terrain. You now know the basics of Grave Trigger. Thank you so much for watching. To learn more, check out the links in the description and visit gravetrigger.com.